Deep in the throes of my generator obsession, I impulse purchased the 2350 WEN inverter generator. I already have an EU 2000i, and I have the WEN 56380i as well. Anyways, I just cracked it open. We'll see we'll do the infamous unboxing video. All right, what do we got so far? I gotta say, just to start with, this thing is light, really, really light, like a lot lighter than the EU 2000i. Some paper, a little bag of tools. Here's your oil fill funnel, and then you get to the other good stuff here. Put this up here. Take out the foam and pull it out of the box. All right. Take it out of the bag. All right. Yeah. Well, I guess I'll do it in here. Okay. Overview. It's lighter than the EU 2000i. I said that already. It feels significantly lighter. This is what it looks like. Quick start guide down there telling you not to forget to put oil in it before you try to start it. It shouldn't start anyways because they have a low oil volume shut-off switch, so it shouldn't even start if you do forget to put the oil in for some reason. I bet it's the exact same one that was on the other WEN generator. This one's made by a different manufacturer. As I was saying on the other video, China has their major motorcycle manufacturers just like Japan has theirs. So, you got the Honda, Yamaha, Kawasaki and Subaru, I guess, if you want to go with small engine manufacturers over Japan. But I don't know the names of the Chinese brands, but obviously they have their top 5 as well. And this is made by one of the top 5 companies. It's the sister company actually to the one, I don't know if you can see it over there, but the 56380i is sitting over there. They're sister companies, but it's not the same manufacturer. I guess it's kind of like the same holding company owns them, but they started off as different companies, and they seem to have slightly different design philosophies, but overall it's the same parent company. Anyhow, I got to do the fill it up with oil. I'm gonna do the same break-in procedure that I did on the other one. Now that I've seen how much crap comes out of the oil the first time or 2 or 3 that you change it, I'm definitely going to perform that same procedure. Let's just do a little bit of messing around here. There's a gas cap as an on and off. There's no keeper on it, like the other one. Spark plug. It's easy to get to. Here's an oil access. Cool. And I did get the magnetic dipstick for this too. And it passed inspection by Inspector 323. Makes me feel much better. So there's your foam on the oil door. It's not as thick as on the other one, but we'll see how this goes. Is there any more ports I can open? Exhaust, do not touch, hot, and pull cord, danger signs. All right. Oh, here's the front. That's the other difference on this one, is that it has the manual choke, but it also has the fuel off position, but it also, I believe, will kill your spark if you go from fuel off to just off. So if you're going to store it for any amount of time, more than overnight or whatever. Just let it run out of gas, and then probably just turn it to off after that. Not that would be necessary or anything, but I'm going to parallel this thing up with the EU 2000i and see, and do some amp testing and see what kind of loads we get off each one of those. That's one of the main reasons I got this thing, was to do that paralleling test with the Honda, the Legendary. First impressions, it feels really solid. I managed to scratch it up somehow. I don't even know how I did that. But it's going to get a lot more scratches than that in its lifetime. Still, the first one hurts. You don't have to take off the those mounting nuts like you did on this one. So all it says is fill it with oil and let it rip. So before I'm going to do that, I'm going to put in one of those hour meters and the magnetic dipstick and fill it up with oil. Time for the big reveal. Just took the side case loose. Dun, 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 dun. It's an engine. Supposedly this is the copy of the Yamaha 79cc engine, and there is the manufacturer. I have to go back to this one so it autofocuses. Zhongshan, that's it. That's the sister company to the one that makes the big one. The old me, the less experienced me, would have said, oh, where's this thing gonna go? That's a perfect spot for it. Just check that out. And I would have drilled some holes, one right there and one right there. And then later on I would have complained because I would have drilled a hole straight into my gas tank. That's the old me. The new me says, where's this gonna fit? Can I put it right on top of the little cover there? Or how about over here? There's nothing on this side. So this is gonna barely work over here, but it will work. You make some mistakes, and if you're lucky, you learn from them. That one I checked before I drilled. That's lesson number one. Things they should teach you in kindergarten. Here's what I ended up doing for that winding of that thing. Just leave a little extra so it doesn't pull out of there so easily, but you're supposed to put 5 coils. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5, we'll call it. Good enough. I removed this little line. I think it's a crankcase return line or something like that. It goes into the carburetor. It's emissions related one way or the other, I'm pretty sure. I removed that just to get this out. The spark plug line goes up and around there, so just to make it a little easier. Don't forget to put that back on. While I'm thinking about it, this thing, every time I open up one of these units, I'm just absolutely amazed at the quality that you get for the price. And I'm not just saying that. I'm just saying that, I mean, the insulation on this one is a little bit thinner, but the motor's a lot smaller too. This is a Yamaha 79cc clone. I haven't started it yet. I have no idea whether it will start or whether it will not start. But based on my experience with the last one, I have no reason to doubt it's going to be anything but good. And here's the kicker. This thing on Amazon is $3.99. Okay, let's round it up, $400. Then I got a service plan, a 4-year service plan, I believe for $100 on top of that. So this thing's $500 all in, and you have a guaranteed generator for 5 years, or 4 years. I'm sorry, 4 years for $500. It's just unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, how can they crank these things out for that price? I just don't know. Interesting side note: the screwdriver that came with not this generator but the other WEN just happens to perfectly fit for putting in these screws. It's the absolute right size for dropping these things in and getting them tightened down. Not too much, don't strip it. This is the kind of thing that endlessly fascinates me. So you can almost see the difference between the Honda style. This is actually that's the one out of the 3800 WEN. This is out of the Honda, the real Honda EU 2000i, and this one is the one I just pulled out of this little 2350 WEN. Now, look at, this is the magnetic oil dipstick that came with, I ordered 2 of these. One is in the WEN and one is in, or the bigger one. And this one I bought Now look what it says. It's for the Predator. I don't know which one, but they all have the same threads. They're just longer. One is just longer than the other one. So I'm going to use the longer one since I know I'm going to have clearance down there in the little 2350 one here. Isn't that fascinating? I wonder if it's the difference between Honda motor, Honda clone motor, and the Yamaha clone motor. You suppose that's what it is? Maybe that's what it is. But it's interesting. The 79cc one has longer dipstick than the 212cc one, right? Oh well. So they obviously test ran this motor at the factory as well. Here's what I got out of it. Look how dark that is. That's pretty dark. You can already see some. I wiped this jar out this time. I got smarter. You can see the little flecks in there. You can also see it start to, not quite. My little girl. And for this engine, I'm also using the Lucas break-in oil. It's an approved weight of oil. And I'm going to do the same cycle that I did last time. So 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 5 hours, 10 hours. The internet loves these first start videos, so I'm going to deliver. All right, gas on, choke on, eco mode is off. I'm gonna just let the fuel drain into the carb for a moment. I'm gonna open up the gas cap like I did on the other one. That seemed to help get the gas to flow down in there. Give it a good chance to settle in, you know, I'm not trying to cheat it or anything. Okay, everything's on and the oil's in it. All the panels are put back on and the hour meter's installed. Let's see how many pulls it takes. Most guys are getting it in the first or second pull, so let's see what happens. Oh, you know what? I forgot to do something. I forgot to put oil down in the cylinder. I gotta do that. Hold on. I just used the tiniest shot of oil out of that can. That's actually, I believe, Vactra whey oil. You can see the piston in there. Watch this. I'll try to get the shadow out of there. How about that? Anyways, the point of that is just to get a little oil on the cylinder walls before you fire it up for the first time. Make sure it's not dry. Probably not necessary. Overkill is my middle name. Okay, let's do our checklist one more time. Got the oil on the cylinder now. Got the choke out. Got the switch on. Got the gas cap turned on. Eco mode is turned off. All right. Got the oil in the cylinder now. Here goes. How many pulls do you think it's going to be? That answers that question. A little bit of smoke, the smoke from the oil that I just put down in the cylinder. And output light is on. Eco mode is now on. It just blows my mind how they can make something like this for $400 and ship it from China too. It's unreal. Here's my test setup again. Both the heaters are plugged in. It's on eco mode. So here's the settings again. 630 watts on low, 1250 on high. And this one's 680 on low and 1250 on high. So we'll turn this one on first. It's on eco mode. We'll see what happens. We'll go 630. Now we'll go up to 1250. Now we'll go 680 on here. Well, no, wait a minute here. You're not supposed to go over 75% load for the first little while, so this is a pretty good load on this little sucker. Well, let's just see what happens. Overload, this is bad. Alright, I'm going to go with eco mode off. It was already on max RPM. Now I'm going to turn it all the way up. 1250. Overload. Alright, let her go. That was So we're back to 680 and 1250. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. I don't want to stress this thing out right away. We'll let it go at 1250. I'm going to try to vary the RPMs on it a little bit under load. So it really makes a difference. Look at it walking. It's going to go for a little jog. It's pretty funny. So far, so good. I'm liking it. It's running like a champ. Power meter's working. 0.2. I'm going to shut it down here. Let it sort of come down to idle gently. When this thing idles down, it gets so quiet, it's unbelievable. I think it's quieter than a Honda, but we're going to test that too. Alright, all the power's off. I'm going to let it cool down for a minute and then shut her down and change the oil. So let's test this fuel shut off versus off-off. The fuel off. It still runs. I must shut the fuel off. I bet this is going to kill the spark. Yep. And that's okay. First time it's been shut down. You're seeing it with me for the first time here. See what that oil, magnetic oil dipstick looks like. There's a little bit on there, but very little. Actually kind of shocked about that. Huh. There's less on this one than there was on the big one. Very little of a ring. It's a different design though. Still glad I had it. All right, let's get the oil up. There's the oil. It just came out of it. It's got that, not as much of a sheen to it as the last one. Still got that greenish look to it, but it's also a little bit clearer than the big one. So, well, it's because there is less. Now you can see those flecks settling out to the bottom. We'll let this sit overnight and then see what's left over on the bottom. We'll dump some of that oil out from the top. But yeah, you can definitely see particulates settling out. But there really was not a lot of iron, ferrous material, so that's got to be aluminum and some bronze maybe. It's kind of like snowfall. Check it out. 10 minutes, guys. This is 10 minutes of running. The first run. Think about it. It's 22 hours later after I drained this oil out of the 2350 WEN. There's some pretty sparkly things going on down there. Anywho, I wish I had two separate containers so I could do a side-by-side comparison about how dark it is or not, but I don't. I dumped the oil out and wiped the jar out thoroughly. You think there's a little difference here? That's the original. That's that break-in oil, Lucas break-in SAE 30. Wow, I had no idea that much discoloration would come from 10 minutes of running. Yeah. The funnel they supplied with this generator seems to be the best one yet. I haven't used it, but it's actually working out pretty well because I've got the right amount of oil in there. That's how much came out, so that's how much is going in. Careful. Yeah, I guess these mason jars are in short supply, or ball jars are in short supply. What with everybody being at home, an extra bunch, and doing home canning projects they've been putting off. So, yeah, if I stole another one of these from my wife, she would divorce me. Oil's all changed, and we're at 0.2 hours. Time for the second run. Not that it means anything. I must have didn't hit start, but it started on the first pull. Well, it's done its successful next half hour running. Just giving it a little bit of a cool down. It was under pretty harsh load there for a little bit. But we're at 0.7 now. As soon as it flips over to 0.8, I'm going to shut her down. Change oil. All right, here's the second running. This is about a half hour. It's about the same amount, maybe even a little bit more flakes on top of that magnet. All right, let's get the oil out. Here's the second oil change after 30 minutes of running. Still some shininess on the top, but nowhere near as green as it was before. There's still some snowstorm, snow globe effects going on in there. But that's why we're doing this. Looks a lot better than the first oil change. Now we're going to go for an hour the next run. Once again, for comparison's sake, this is the new oil. Looks like honey. Notice the distinct lack of green tinge and snow globe effect. I like this old jar for filling this thing. It makes it really easy to know exactly how much to put in. Here's where things are going to start to get interesting. I've got the RV plugs hooked up here. This is kind of a downer. I don't know if you can see that or not, but the only plug you can use in the generator for this adapter is the top one. You lose the access to the bottom one because the cord sticks out too much there. Probably be fixed with a cord design, or you can just plug into the RV outlets. I missed out on it last time, the start, so I'm going to start it this time. Now we're at 0.8 hours on the meter. Just turned over when I shut it down. All right. I would bet quite a bit of money this will start on the first pull. Sure enough. All right, now we're going to plug in the RV. Travel trailer, sorry for the purists. Now, the interesting test. I'm going to turn on the air conditioning and see what happens. This little EU2000i wouldn't handle it. Or I should say it would only handle it like if you were lucky. So let's try this. Go to cool, we're at 57. There's the fan kicking on. You gotta wait like a minute, 2 minutes or something like that for the compressor to kick on. We'll see how this does. That didn't work at all. Third oil change after an hour of running. There's definitely a lot less ferrous material on the magnet this time, so this is working. Here's the third oil change. This is a 1 hour run. There's still some snow globing going on. Some shiny bits in there you can see, but overall the color of the oil is much closer to the newer oil than it was to the that greenish oil before. So I'm very happy. Next run will be 5 hours. The lesson is the WEN can run the air conditioner. The Honda can't. It was just a little bit too much load for it. I just checked the wattage on it. It's pulling approximately 1450 watts right now, and that shouldn't have been any kind of problem for that Honda. I might have to try it again later.